Alright guys, finishing up with part, I think this is 4, to the Georgia and Asteroid prophecy video series. If you have not watched the first 3 videos, please go back and do so. They're only about 3 minutes each or 4 minutes each. They're not long. Right now I don't have the ability to edit, and so that's why sometimes my videos will be chopped and broken up into several parts. But in order to fully get the documented proof, the prophecy, and all the information, you may want to go back and make sure you watch every video inside this series. I'm going to try and make it as short and condense it as possible, but at the same time, it's so much happening. I have to make sure I get everything out there. Okay, so following along where we left off was that I had a dream for a prophecy to give regarding an asteroid that's coming in Georgia. Matter of fact, let me just pull up the dream because I was able to get a photo of it so I can just read it to everyone. Okay, so, and I already went through in the other beginning parts of this series in part 1, 2, and 3 how I did it live on camera to verify that I didn't type the date and time or day in for the prophecy, that it's recorded automatically through an app called OneNote. So here's just a still photo of me recording that dream and saying, a dream regarding an asteroid that's coming, and I saw it hitting several cities and states. And right here where I have the words different fragments in parentheses, that's because I knew and I saw that it wasn't just one asteroid landing somewhere. I could actually see that from, you know, a larger asteroid, that it was kind of like fragments and pieces breaking up in different fireballs raining down in different locations, okay? So, in the dream, the arrival of the asteroid impact was a part of prophecy me and someone else had given, okay? So, in the dream, it's referencing that this is going to be part of a prophecy. So, this is how I knew that it was going to be prophecy. And someone else had given, which would be Minister Paul on YouTube, and I'm going to get into that later on, but that was actually mentioned in the dream, that it was regarding a prophecy that both me and someone else had given. And in the dream, I was going back and showing proof of the prophecy, matching it up with the event being fulfilled. I don't remember the other states involved, but I know Georgia was one of them. It was like Georgia was the main focus point. I was like over or hovering over the map, United States map, and I saw the state of Georgia was the main focus point of the arrival or impact of one of the asteroid fragments. But also I could see other cities and states were also getting rained down on by the asteroids and fragments and fireballs. And then if you notice what I put at the bottom, and this is just something the Holy Spirit during my dream interpretation classes and learning taught me. See, I put in parentheses, I also understand asteroids can sometimes be symbolic for destruction in general. So I want you guys to remember that part, because it's going to be very important later on during the actual fulfillment, when I show how all of these things, how this dream has came to pass by the power of the living God. So, getting back to the fulfillment. So, that dream happened. I woke up December 31st. And as soon as I got up, a few minutes afterwards, I recorded it. And then by New Year's Eve, that same night, it was fulfilled. Okay, and now I'm just going to show you guys so you can just see for yourselves better footage and video footage of the fulfillment of the asteroid that arrived. And I'm going to explain everything for you because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions along the way.
It's Tuesday, January 2nd, 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Welcome to 2018. I hope this year is abundantly great and prosperous to you, your family, your loved ones, and everyone you know. Let's talk about how 2017 ended and how 2018 began. On the 18th, specifically in the UK, on the 18th, New Year's Eve, a major fireball was observed by thousands of people, actually reported by 837 people here at the American Meteor Society. This is the fireball that was spotted by many people, recorded by Trevor, Scarborough Bay. Trevor was kind enough to let us use this video to zoom in and get a closer look of this fireball. And most reports, here it is right here, I'm going to zoom in here in just a minute, give you a real tight look at this thing. It's kind of got a green tint to it, so that's usually, from what I understand, indicative of copper. Trevor's car was facing the right direction at the right time. This is a dash cam video. You can see here in slow motion, and I've zoomed in, it is kind of green. You can see a little bit of fragmentation here as it goes past Trevor's car. There's the very definite green, but large fireball witnessed by thousands of people, reported by 837 people here at AMS, and many reports and pictures and videos came in of this event. Sonic booms were heard and multiple reports of fragmentation. 2018 is also starting the year off with major storms, major fireballs ending 2017.
Sorry guys, hold on.
Basically where they left off. 2017 was what I call the year of the overachiever. There were so many storms last year that...
Okay, this is the part next. So as you guys can hopefully have seen from the footage, that the fireball was really, really big. And I'm going to leave the link to this video so you can view it for yourselves. Because I always say me trying to record a video that's been recorded by someone else may not always give the best viewpoint of things. But even in the article admitted by the scientists that I put in part 1 of this, they even label it huge. Just so you can understand how big this asteroid was. So here we have, I had a dream on December 31st in a prophecy given by the Lord that there was an asteroid coming, and then by New Year's Eve, before that day was over, it had fulfilled and an asteroid arrived in Europe, that hemisphere of the world. It arrived and it came down, rained down, and went over the European Union. Specifically, was mostly seen over the United Kingdom, which is several, just like in my prophecy, if you notice I stated it was coming down over several different cities and states. It wasn't just one country or one location or one state. It was multiple places that it was raining down over, okay? And so if you know anything about the United Kingdom, it's exactly what it sounds like, a kingdom full of multiple cities, states, and countries. And so you may be asking, well, you said that the asteroid was coming for Georgia and you were looking at a United States map. Trust me, the Holy Spirit is going to reveal all things in truth. So I'm going to explain how that works out momentarily. But first I want to show you, this is the same video of the guy showing the asteroid. And this is so many multiple fulfillments and manifestations of prophecy in the Holy Spirit, because right after we have this asteroid arriving in the United Kingdom, look at inside of the news feed. Look inside of the news feed, what's occurring right after or at the same time. Another really big storm Eleanor, headed to Ireland, United Kingdom. This is where the asteroid flew over, and now they're about to get hit with the mega storm. France, powerful winds and thundery rain. Storm Carmen leaves one person dead, 65,000 people without power. France. Extreme cold temperatures in North America. U.S. and Canada, extremely cold. Atlantic. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to include this video, but it's basically all of these things are happening simultaneously. If you're not paying attention, you will not realize what's actually happening to the world. But series of Atlantic storms to hit Ireland and UK. Okay, so basically you have an asteroid arriving, flying overhead, and then all of these freak storms breaking out across the United States, the Atlantic, and Europe, specifically the United Kingdom area. And so yes, so now I'm going to get back to, remember I said that that in the dream the Holy Spirit told me that the asteroid that was coming was part of a prophecy of mine and then also other people. Well, Minister Paul on YouTube was one of the other people who already had a prophecy about this as well. And I'm going to break down and show you guys how his prophecy ties into this asteroid. Many of you probably already know when it comes to Georgia, if you watch his videos, how much he's been warning, constantly on Georgia, something coming to Georgia. But I'm going to include this video of Minister Paul's in the description box as well. But this was honestly, let's see, just 2 days ago, he uploaded this video as a warning. And as you can see from the still in his video, we have the United Nations involved in his warning. And then we have, I want to find the right place. You have a warning regarding
the Institute for Digital Technology has been working with the United Nations through Bell Arches and CERN to use keywords and...
Okay, so he was basically saying the United Nations, CERN, and the Institute for Digital Technologies are part of this evil cabal of men trying to come together to play God and usher in the Antichrist. And this is what the Holy Spirit was revealing to him. And this is a prophecy warning that he's given. So we have UN, Institute for Digital Technologies, and then later on in the video, he's shown a map by the Holy Spirit of all of these places that are in danger. And he's warning them that danger is coming to this area. So as you can clearly see, Boston. Okay. And this is obviously the East Coast. We have Boston, Manchester. So this is in Massachusetts. And let's see if we can kind of get some of the other mentions.
That's the title of it. Thinking they can open a portal, projecting images. This is all evil power. They even call it a spirit in a stone. That's the title of it. Thinking they can open a portal, projecting images. This is all images. This is all stargate, code words, and that's the title.
I'm going to include this video below so you can watch the whole thing. But basically the Institute for Digital Technologies, Boston, Massachusetts, all of the New England states were locations on his warning map of saying something bad and evil is happening here, and something bad is coming to this area, and he's warning people about it. So, if you look, he's also bringing up like all the prestigious colleges on the East Coast, like Harvard. So let's look at Harvard. And as you can clearly see, Harvard is in Massachusetts. Just the same way on his warning map, it was like Boston, New England states, and the surrounding states on the upper East Coast of America. And so this place, I'll get the name of it. This Institute for Digital Technologies. Let me switch over to my phone. Bear with me. This Institute for Digital Technologies, the one responsible for helping to put up the Bell archways and all of this evil things that they are putting together. And I'll put more links so you can research deeper into it for yourself. But I just want to show you something. So this is the Institute for Digital Technologies. Okay. And they put these demonic, blasphemous Bell archways up around the world. And they're also developing other technologies that are evil and wicked and against God. And looking right here on their own Facebook page, Digital Institute for Digital Archaeology, it says right here, the Institute for Digital Archaeology, the IDA, is a joint venture between Harvard University and the Classic Conclave. Okay, so right here, we have our link to Harvard is a part of this digital technology and digital archaeology, which is located in Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, so we have Harvard and Boston, Mass. I'm sorry, not Boston, Mass. Cambridge, Massachusetts. So we have the United Nations. Some type of warning the Holy Spirit and the Lord is revealing regarding the United Nations, the Upper East Coast, the East Coast, Boston, the New England states. And then he's also giving me a prophecy about an asteroid and saying danger is coming to Georgia. But then we also have, when the asteroid did arrive and the prophecy did come to pass, it was over the United Kingdom. So you may say, how does all of this stuff tie in together? Well, I'm going to explain it. So, if you go back and listen to Minister Paul's video, another university that's heavily involved along with Harvard and the Institute for Digital Technologies and Archaeology is Oxford. So it's basically all these prestigious quote-unquote colleges that all of the elite, went to and things like that. And these are the people that are helping Harvard and CERN, UN, digital archaeology. It's in the United Kingdom. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, remember where the asteroid arrived. United Kingdom. Okay? So, when this asteroid first happened and I saw the news article and the story about it and how big it was, the Holy Spirit immediately quickened my spirit and told me this is part of your prophecy. Okay? And so I was like, well, it definitely is an asteroid. It definitely is big. I didn't exactly understand because I was shown the state of Georgia in the United States. So I'm most kind of confused. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm going to just go with it. Okay. And this is going to display the power of the Holy Spirit and how God works. It's not about the wisdom and understanding of man. Okay. Or our own intelligence of how smart we are. So thankfully, I didn't disregard it and I just kept going with it because the Holy Spirit was saying, this is part of your prophecy. So hold on to that. So I'm like, okay. So immediately when I saw United Kingdom, I knew that the asteroid had went over Europe. And it was, if you've seen the map and the video, you've seen thousands of people across Europe and hundreds across the United Kingdom. They saw it go over their head. And so I'm like, United Kingdom, Europe, European Union. Also on my channel, I have prophecies regarding European Union. You can go watch them as well. And from those previous videos, I remembered that there's also a country called Georgia in Europe, okay? So, there's more than one location on Earth called Georgia. It's not just the state in America or the United States. And I'm going to kind of show you what the Lord, how he revealed everything. So, there's a country called Georgia. Okay, even though I saw it on a U.S. map, I knew it was the state of Georgia where the asteroid had arrived, and Georgia was the focal point. And so when I saw it happen in the UK, I remembered there's a country in Europe named Georgia, and this is just so everyone can see. Georgia is a country, the Caucasus region of Eurasia, which is a combination of Europe and Asia. And they're saying that the western part of Georgia is in Asia, but the eastern part of Georgia is considered Europe. And even the entire country considers themselves European and part of Europe, okay? And so, following along with the Holy Spirit, I said, well, is Georgia a part of the European Union? And I'm going to leave all this in the description box so you can do your own research, but they want desperately to be a part of the European Union. So not only geographically is the country, half of the country is literally inside of Europe, but they consider themselves European and they desperately want to be a part of the European Union. Okay. This is just saying Ukraine, Georgia, there we go, Georgia, and Moldova could join the EU. Georgia, Ukraine agreed to cooperate on efforts to join EU. Georgia persists in its bid to join the EU. So they are, desperately trying to get in, okay? And they have a relationship with the EU, even though they don't have full 100% status membership yet. They plan to have full membership in EU in 5 to 10 years. Okay, and Georgia joins EU visa-free policy. So these are basically the steps leading up to them being an official member. So they're getting, all the Georgia citizens are getting their visa-free passes to where they are basically EU citizens. They can freely come and go. It's not like a separate country where you need papers. You're not a foreigner. It's visa-free. You're basically citizen-wise, you are a part of the EU. You can freely travel, go back and forth amongst the EU nations. EU approves visa-free travel for Georgia. Okay, so I said all of that to show you and say how Georgia is a part of Europe and the European Union. Okay, So if you've been following my videos, you know that the Lord has already been pronouncing judgment on the European Union because of their vote at the United Nations against Israel in Resolution 2334. And I have previous videos on that. You may want to go check it out. But so as you've seen, there's an asteroid going over Europe, European Union. And then all of a sudden, while the asteroid is arriving there and going over them, which is really a fireball, you know, we let the media control our viewpoint of what's happening in the world. You know, we are told, go get your telescope. This is so exciting. This is wonderful. There's a meteor here, and this looks so cute and nice and pretty. But biblically speaking, seeing a fire rain down from the sky and stars falling is not really a joyous, momentum, wonderful occasion. It's actually, if you read the Bible, a sign of judgment. It's actually fire and brimstone and stars falling to the earth and mountains lit with the fire from the throne to rain down in judgment on the earth. And so that's what's actually happening over Europe with this asteroid. So you have that happening there, and then Georgia being a country inside of Europe, which in a relationship with the European Union, which from my previous prophecies and videos, we know judgment is falling on them. Okay? And so then I would say a few days later, this is what's occurring in our world. And this is the power of the living God in prophecy. State of emergency declared for southeast Georgia. So, you should already know by the news that this is current and what's happening right now. But everyone may not realize from a biblical, Holy Spirit, God perspective of what's actually unfolding. We're just told to keep watching TV, keep eating popcorn, enjoy life, keep drinking and eating, getting married as in the days of Noah, keep going to work. As long as you're doing your 9 to 5 and drinking coffee, everything's fine. Judgment is not here. But if you have eyes open to see and to hear the Holy Spirit, you will see what the rest of the world is blind to. So January 3rd, remember I had the prophecy vision on December 31st. So this is several days later. First, it started with an asteroid going over the country Georgia in Europe, over United Kingdom and European Union. So that's one fulfillment, number one. Then a few days later, we have a state of emergency declared for southeast Georgia from the winter storm. And I don't know if you guys, look at this, 28 counties in Georgia under state of emergency. 28 counties. That's a large area. So I don't know if you guys are watching what's happening in the news on the East Coast, but this is not your average winter wonderland. It's not normal and it's not okay. These are actually plagues being poured out. Let's see. Just bear with me, please. Okay. And I'm going to kind of go through what's happening, and I'm going to tell you why, because the Lord has revealed to me what's behind it all and why it's happening. So, this is the storm that's now hitting the East Coast. It started in the South. See, the prophecy was an asteroid headed for Georgia. Now, so the physical, literal asteroid happened over the European Georgia across the world. But remember in my dream how I put in parentheses that the Holy Spirit taught me that asteroid can mean destruction in general. Doesn't have to be so literal to mean a physical star asteroid. It could just mean that destruction and judgment is falling down on a place. So right off the bat, when I saw a few days later, Georgia in the news, under destruction and judgment, I knew that it was all connected, okay? And the Lord, his prophecies and words will never return void. They will never lie. Okay? So, this is basically the entire East Coast is up under something very crazy. I mean, Tennessee, North Carolina, we have Florida, for God's sakes. Okay? This is a winter hurricane. Snow arrives in Florida. Guys, if you honestly think that this is normal to where we have sub-zero historic snowstorms freezing everything down south in the United States, if you think that that's just normal and business as usual, then, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. They're calling, this is what they do when it's out of the ordinary. They don't have a real explanation. They don't really know what it is, and it's not normal. They just start making up names, but now they're calling this bomb cyclone. So this is a sub-zero, almost into a mini ice age type storm, but it's a hurricane snowstorm. It's forming over New England. So it started down south in Georgia and Florida, but see, Georgia. And remember in my prophecy, in the dream, I put that I knew Georgia was the focal point, but there were several other states and cities surrounding Georgia, that the asteroid and fragments and pieces of the Judgment was also raining down on. So here we have North Carolina, Charlotte, Savannah, Florida. Okay. And that's to give you some. This is in Georgia. This is just like in their park. And this is down south, guys. Some of the statues, completely sub-zero temperatures, frosted over in ice. Frozen, their fountains. And I'm going to include all of this information below. Let's see, what do we have next? Okay. Now, this is the secular media even admitting that this is not business as usual. It's time for us to honestly wake up. Southeast socked by rare. This is not, don't let people deceive you. Oh, this always happens. We always have bad storms. Don't let them tell you that. If even the media isn't